Are you somebody that is looking to pivot your business and make sure that you succeed when you pivot or when you change what you do? Well, you were in luck, because in today's episode, we are going to take you through how you can successfully pivot your business and make sure that it's profitable, make sure that your income isn't impacted, and it is very successful when you pivot. So make sure to stay to the end of the episode, because that's where we get into the nitty-gritty, the strategies, the step-by-step process as to how you can pivot and have success when you do it with your business. But before we get into that, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you get weekly notifications as to when I put out new videos. They're going to be absolutely everything to do with mindset, personal development, how to become the best version of you possible. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell. Now let's dive into the episode. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Millennial Business Podcast. My name is Taylor Victoria, and I am super excited today to be joined by the absolutely amazing Megan Ye Laney she's in America at the moment. I've been following along with her on Instagram for a little while. She's doing some absolutely epic stuff with her brand, The Awkward Entrepreneur. Megan, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
It's so exciting when you can make such big shifts for yourself in just such a short few years. And I know, especially I went from living in Canberra in Australia to moving to Bali and running my business full-time out here. And for me, that took a huge mindset shift, but I feel like it also would have taken you sort of a big mindset shift when you were just starting out as well. Can you talk me through some of that? Because I feel like that's one thing that I constantly get messages about on Instagram, and something that my audience struggles with is the actual mindset of starting your own business and starting to build your own brand. It's really what people are struggling with a lot.
90% of business is mindset. Like it really is, because you could have the best laid strategies. Like I'm a big strategy coach. I love strategy. I've been studying it for years. I went to school for business. So it's always been like in my blood in that sense, but it doesn't matter. You could have all of it. And if you don't have the right mindset, none of it matters. So it's like the number one thing. And I think starting out, I kind of mentioned it in my story a little bit, but I treated it like a hobby. And so when I started to shift from that mindset of I'm going to treat this like a hobby and expect to make great money to, oh, I'm going to treat this like a CEO. I am going to become the CEO of my own business, the CEO of Target, of Apple, of all these big companies. Like they don't just show up when they feel like it. They're running humongous companies. And so they show up and act like it every single day. And I started to do that. I started to really take it that seriously. And that's when everything took off. So that's probably like the biggest mindset shift, is stop treating it like a hobby. If you want it to make real money, you have to treat it like you're a CEO of a big corporation, and you've got to show up or else it all collapses. That's probably the first and biggest one that I had to make in the beginning.
Once you started to make that shift, that's when things really sort of started to grow for you. Is that was that in your network marketing company? Is that what you were referring to?
Yeah, that was when I started with network marketing, or about a year and a half into it is when I really took it seriously. And when I went in, I was really lucky because that was so ingrained in me. Once I was like, oh, this is an actual business. Like I could make real money doing this. This isn't like a joke. And then I totally transferred that into my own business. By the time I started my own, that was such a habit. And I was like, oh, this is easy. Not that it's easy, it's hard. And we'll talk about that, I'm sure. But like the mindset flip of, hey, this is a business. I've got to actually treat it like that. That's why when I started my own, I was able to hit the 6 figures in 6 months, where before it took like 3-4 years, It was just like, oh, I got it now. Cool. We can go do this again. So, once
Amazing.
you have it ingrained in you, it's like you can start over anytime and you don't feel like, oh, this isn't going to work. You can make it work.
What are some sort of things that you could help the audience with in terms of like how to attract more clients into their business?
The first one is another mindset, just a little flip really quick. Before we get into some more practical, is realize that this is going to take time. And that's probably the biggest thing, because I see so many people, they'll start their business. And while I just said, treat it like your CEO, treat it like a business, also treat it like, hey, I'm not going to try this on this is it. Like, this is going to happen, and I don't care how long it takes. And that's really the attitude you have to go in with, because you posting a week's worth of valuable content isn't going to make all of your clients all of a sudden come rushing to you out of nowhere. I have so many people that when we start in our early on programs for newer coaches, after like 1 week of applying what we teach, they expect everything to magically happen. I'm like, oh, okay, it's great. I'm glad you did that, but do it again next week, then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. And like, don't stop. And I think that's the biggest thing. You have to be consistent. If you're someone who's always buying a specific magazine, must have been a little outdated because like no one buys magazines anymore. But like, if you're going, you get the same magazine every single day, and then all of a sudden one day that magazine's not there. So you look, and right next to it is a different one. So you just pick that one up. And I'm not saying like you can never have an off day or you can't be sick or something like that. Obviously, we're human. We've got to take breaks. I don't work on the weekends. I don't show up on social a lot on the weekends. That's okay. But if you're disappearing for weeks at a time, months at a time, you're constantly having to start over. Your personal life, and we could get into this too, is always getting in the way of your business, or you're letting it get in the way of your business, then people are going to not take you seriously. And it's just a matter of fact. So one, you have to really give it time and be consistent. That's the secret sauce to attracting clients, is actually showing up every single day or 5 days a week and really being super consistent. So people are like, wow, she's like serious, and she's always here. She's so reliable. She's loyal. She's always providing me value. Okay, when I need a coach in this area, you're going to be top of mind for them, versus someone who's showing up just two times a week or once a week or every other week. The second biggest thing is try to speak more to the transformation that you're going to help people achieve versus the stuff. And I feel like I talk about this a lot, but every time someone's like, oh my gosh, that's so true, I didn't even think about it like that. If you are trying to buy, even if you think of a product you love, right? A meal you love, or a movie, or just your favorite brand, you're usually connected to it for an emotional reason, right? Even weight loss. No one wants to lose weight just to lose weight. So what's the deeper reason? What's the deeper reason someone wants to make money? Like, what's the purpose? Always ask yourself, so what before you're actually posting something or posting on your stories. And if it's your like value add for the day, and if all you're doing is like talking about the stuff they're going to get in your program, like the modules, the workouts, the lessons, but you're not actually talking about how are they going to feel after? What are they going to be able to do that they couldn't do before? One of my clients, she's had so much growth this year because she decided to like take the mask off and go, hey guys, this is what all my clients, this is why they want to lose weight. And this is why I wanted to be comfortable in my body. And it's to have better sex and more of it and feel really good in your body. And I was like, yes. Her business blew up because she was finally calling out what everyone was thinking. And she didn't just stop at the weight for the weight loss sake. And when you speak to that deeper reason, like what really gets people going, what keeps them up at night, and what's the transformation you're going to help, not just the stuff. I feel like I barely ever even talk about the stuff in my programs. I mention it because you still have to like include it, but it's such an afterthought. People don't care about that. They don't care how you get them there. They just want you to get them to that after. So those are honestly like, there's so many we can like go on to about this forever, but those are like, if you really, really take those two hardcore and go deep with those two tips, it's going to change the game for how people actually react to your content.
Do you have any suggestions for someone who is struggling to figure out what transformation they actually provide?
One of the biggest things I love talking about, and it's like a really nerdy topic and it's so old school, but it's market research. It has changed the game for my business and my clients' business. It's crazy how much they learn about their client. And they're like, I never knew that. What?
Yeah.
We think we know our ideal client so well because we were our ideal client. And it's not that you don't, but once you've transformed yourself, like you can't truly go back to that before because you see it through different eyes now. You have just a different perception. The biggest tip is go out and actually interview your ideal client, someone that you're like, I would love to have them as a client. And then is, what's the purpose of this? Like, what's important to you about reaching this? How will you reaching this goal change your life, make it better? Like, why? You know, at the end of the day, like, why do you want to make money? Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to have a social media manager? You know, for certain professions like that, I'm actually glad you brought that up. It's a great example. You can actually ask more leading questions, meaning questions that you're like, you almost know the answer, but you just want to confirm it from them. And just be curious. This is the biggest thing with market research. Don't go into it being like, I'm going to sell everyone. I'm going to pitch everyone. Like, you are going into this just to be curious, truly, so that you can start creating content that will actually help them. And again, every time I have clients do this, and myself included, I do this also continually. I'll never stop doing it. They're like amazed when they get all this golden information for their own content. They're like, wow, I know exactly what to talk about now because they just again said it to me. So that's like been the game changer for sure.
Talk me through that process of actually deciding to niche down on something like that, because that's sort of not a very common, like the awkward entrepreneur. That's not a very common niche to have. So talk me through that process.
That kind of came about accidentally when I was doing health and fitness coaching, and I basically was making fun of the health and fitness coaching industry, because at the time when I was really doing it in 2017, everyone was doing that like side booty pose. I mean, so many people still do it and they rock it. And I have very good friends that do it and they kill it and they're amazing. And I could not do it for the life of me. Like, my body physically wouldn't twist, I just couldn't do it. And it became like a running joke with my really good fitness friends who they tried to teach me and coach me. And I was like, I'm giving up. And one day I just like filmed myself doing it because I wanted to take a screenshot so that I could like maybe capture a good pose, thinking I did. While I was making this video, I wasn't planning on posting this. I was literally going to take a screenshot. And I looked at it and I'm like, this is so ridiculous. One, there's not one good screenshot here to post. Two, this is so like the things I was saying, it was really authentic because I wasn't planning on posting it. So that's another thing, like record things that you're like, I just want to document like the makings of things, and you will find some golden content in that like non-intentional recording.
Yeah.
And I posted it, and for my page specifically, it went like viral. And it just blew up and people loved it. And they were like, this is hysterical. This is exactly how I felt. I don't want to do that pose either. And it was just really funny. And I was like, why am I like trying to mask all that? I'm trying to hide it and be behind this like sexy, fitness girl. And so not me. And so I just said, nope, not doing this anymore. I went all in. It helped my fitness business, but I was just not passionate about it. And I pretty quickly switched to business coaching. Yeah. But the brand stayed because it so applies to business. And there's just like, like there's so many awkward things that happen at business every single day. And I basically just said, hey, I'm calling it out. And like you just said, everyone I know is awkward. Every single person I know has awkward moments in their day. We just hide it behind nice Instagram feeds. Just taking what makes you you and really not hiding it and using it to your advantage. Actually, one way I came to this branding too was I actually sent out a survey to really good friends, clients I already had, clients I'd worked with in the past, followers, family, and asked them to describe me. Like, what colors do you think of when you think of me? What words do you think of when you think of me? How would you describe me? What qualities? And over and over again, I kept coming back with like fun and funny and playful and silly and all those things. And so I was like, all right, there's something to this. So what do people perceive you as, and how do you want them to perceive you? Because at the end of the day, you might think you're putting out one brand, but you might not be resonating and people might see you a totally different way. So that's really important to know. And then you can obviously flip it and turn it into the way you want to, but go ask your people, like, how do you see me? And if they're not seeing you the way you want, start to change that and start to put out what you want to. But that's how you're going to stand out. Take what makes you a little quirky and go all in with it. And also stop consuming as much content as you do. I'm sure everyone out there, including myself at times, consumes way too much. And we get into this like analysis paralysis. Frozen idea came to me when I was just unplugged. And I was like, I'm going to sing my Black Friday specials. And that wouldn't have come to me if I was just constantly looking at everyone else's stuff, because no one's done that. I haven't seen anyone do it.
I would love to sort of finish off. I always get people to give some sort of tactical advice for the audience. And you have given some amazing tactical advice already. What should be like, now that I know these words of what people sort of associate with me, how do I turn that into a brand, like for my personal brand?
One thing I did, and I actually worked on this with a life coach, so it was so helpful, is I took all of those words and I tried to dive a little bit deeper. So if someone, for example, is giving you all those words, I wouldn't stop there with just the one like questions post. I would send out an email. I would do like a little competition for people to fill out, whether it's a more in-depth survey. It was like, if they've worked with you, like, how do they feel when they work with you? That was a big question. So asking any of your past clients, like, how do they feel when they work with you? How would they describe you as a coach? What do they think of when they think of you as far as different words? What colors, what flowers, what smells, what kinds of clothes, like what music, we went so deep in this survey. We spent so much time really figuring that stuff out. And so I think it's so worth it. So, and then like put it all on paper. And we got markers and we wrote down all of the words that were repeated and all of the colors, anything that was repeated like multiple times, put it there, and then started to circle the ones that really resonated, that I wanted to resonate. Make sure that you're also like circling things that you want to be, like you feel like, yep, that's fully me and it makes sense, you know? That's going to just be so clear. But then one last thing I'll say with tactical too, is just realize as far as niching down, it doesn't just have, it should be like, yes, it could be the way in which you coach, like how, you know, the Pretty Awkward brand or whatever, you know, people think of. But it could also be in specifically who you're helping to and how you coach. You know, when I did health and fitness, intermittent fasting was how I niched down. It was the method in which I used. So not only can it be niching down through your brand, but it could be niching down through your method. And it could also be niching down in more obvious ways who you're helping. So like moms lose the baby weight. If you're a social media manager, I specifically focus on 6-figure entrepreneurs who are trying to get to the next level and know they need to repurpose and don't have time, you know, something like that. So there's so many different ways you can niche down. So try not to get stressed about having to do it in one specific way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's that was so much value to end on. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. Where can people find you if they want to get more of you online?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's so much fun. I love talking about this stuff. Yes, you can find me at Instagram at Megan Ye Laney. It's YELANEY. Megan, G-A-N. And then I also have a podcast, the Pretty Awkward Entrepreneur Podcast. And those are the main places I love to hang out. And yeah, we just have a lot of fun.
All right, Megan. So if there was one last thing that you could say to the audience today, what would it be?
One thing I want to say, and it applies to so much in business and life, is sometimes less is more. And you can take that and put it into any area you need. But a big question I've been getting a lot from clients, from followers is like, how many modules should I have? How many videos should I have in my course? How many of this and this and this and this? At the end of the day, like, what is the simplest way to get your client to the result? Less is more in that sense. Like, simplify it, but also in your life. I've personally been doing this, like really simplifying. And I can't tell you how like lighter I feel just getting rid of like stuff that's just not serving me, as well as like maybe there's some toxic relationships in your life. Quality over quantity. Like, it's truly how I'm living, and that like simple little less is more applies to everything in life. And it's really been so true for me this year.
I totally resonate with that, especially like the relationships, guys. If you've got toxic relationships, we've spoken about this before. Come on. Like, we don't have time for this anymore. All right, Megan, thank you so much for joining me on the show, guys. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe, screenshot it, share it on your Instagram. Let us know your favorite parts, or shoot either of us a DM on Insta, and connect with us that way. It's the best way to connect with both of us. And until next time, bye.
And if you guys found a lot of value out of today's episode, if you thought that the strategies and the tools that we gave you as to how to be able to pivot your business and succeed when you do that, if you enjoyed those, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you get weekly notifications as to when I put out more videos like this. And if you feel as though you need absolutely any support in anything to do with your growth, your business, your mindset, how to become the best version of you, please shoot me an email, coachtaylorvictoria@gmail.com, and I will be able to give you lots of support and help you out with absolutely anything that you need. And until the next episode, I will see you later. Bye.